Alright guys, here with another video game review. This time, this is my first PS4 video game review. This is The Last of Us. I got that first, but this is when I'm going to end up reviewing it. Before that, I don't know why, because... oh god, what the hell? What is this? Oh, what the fuck? That was so stupid. So what do you guys think of my chest burster impression? Yeah, that's... At least I don't have to do it again. Anyway, do you guys like my Alien shirt? Jurassic Park, Alien. It's relevant. It's relevant. Alien Isolation, the Nostromo edition, which basically, I think all it means is it comes with the DLC, which I already got, but there's a couple other things in here. The Crew Expendable DLC pack, that's something I'll talk about in a little bit, like, later on in the video. And what else came in here? 35th anniversary edition of just the first movie. Cool. And then on the back you can get the Alien films extended cuts on PlayStation Store. Good to know. Now before I talk about this, I want to talk a little bit about the backstory of the Alien franchise. Not the movies, but the games. People love Alien vs. Predator games, and I don't know, whenever people say like, oh, the best Alien game is Alien vs. Predator, I know there's one that was on like PS3, Xbox 360 a couple years ago, but I don't think that's one they're talking about. I think they're talking about like an arcade one, or maybe one where you like the light gun type thing where you pick it up and point it at the screen that you would play at an arcade. Like, I think it's one of those. But I don't know. If so, if you know, could you please tell me that? Alien games have not been doing too well lately for sure because of Aliens, Colonial Marines, that bastardization of the Alien franchise. That thing was bad, okay? It had such potential too. And it's like, we're gonna make it canon, it'll take place after Aliens or whatever, and it'll like continue the story, it'll be cool. You know, you get to be a space marine, you get to have the big light gun or one of those smart guns, whichever gun you want, just a big ass awesome machine gun, shoot shit up, aliens, thousands of them coming at you relentlessly, you and your team have to fight back. It could have been so cool, and it was junk, there was crappy AI, it was just terrible, it was terrible. But this one, like when I heard about this one, I was like, no, this, Colonial Marines sucked, but this one, if they do it right, could work, because this game is survival horror, not like big action shoot everything. This is survival horror, and it's the first survival horror I've ever played in my life. You know, the first couple Resident Evil, Silent Hill, stuff like that. What's the new one? PT, Silent Hills, there's Outlast, there's a lot of like creepy ass survival horror games, and you know what, I won't play a lot of them because it's a little too scary, but I was like, Alien, that's something I can play, okay? If they make more of games like this, more Alien survival horror games, they've got me for each one as long as they're good. But like something like Outlast where you're alone in a madhouse with a bunch of crazy fuckers, it's like, that's a little bit much, that's a little too scary for me personally, so I'm not gonna play it. Who knows, maybe one day, but as of right now, no. And you play as Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, and this takes place in between Alien and Aliens, the movies. So if you know the ending of Alien, I'll spoil it for like 3 seconds, okay? Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, gets shot up in an escape pod and then like floats through space forever until she gets rescued in Aliens. So Amanda's looking for her mother in this, and they're in space, and she's got her own things going, and then there's like a big accident, and they come across this spaceship that is, first off, it's gigantic, it's huge, it's a big world to roam around, and a lot of people are dead. There's a couple survivors, but it's because of Alien. There's an alien on board killing everyone off, so you as Amanda Ripley have to survive through many different ways. And what I like about it, because it's survival horror, you're not gonna be like, okay, here's my machine gun, shotgun, grenades, everything, I'm gonna go find it and just shoot the shit out of it. First off, you try that, you will die quickly. I just wanted to test, I'm like, I get the idea, but you know what, I was like, yeah, alright, you get a gun eventually, it's like, alright, aim, shoot, and I was like, yeah, oh no, and it just started walking towards me like, bullets don't do nothing, it might stun it for a second, if you're lucky, and then you're gonna get skewered with its tail, or it's gonna grab you, little mouth will pop out and be like, how you doing? Boom! It's intense because of that, because you can't fight back really. Eventually you might be able to, you know, you might get a shotgun, and you know what, the shotgun can blast it and hurt it, but again, it's not gonna save your life. And eventually you get a flamethrower. That's the only thing where you can actually take the alien on and be like, what motherfucker? And burn it a little. I don't think that's how Ellen Ripley talked in the first movie when she had the flamethrower. But yeah, so you can burn it and maybe it'll run away, but it'll come back, and it might come back quick. Like, burn it, it'll run into the vents or something, and then you got like a little while. So as long as you have fuel, you can kind of keep fighting it off. But then when you run out, it's like, oh shit. The weapons are limited. You could also get a bolt gun, which I thought was really cool. You basically, first off, it shoots bolts, that's obvious, but you power it up and just fire it as hard as you can. And that made an interesting weapon for other things, because not just the alien, there's also people, survivors that might attack you, because they're nervous. It's like, you know what, I could just shoot you and take your shit, so that could work. So you might have to end up fighting them up. And also Worker Joes, which are like the cheap Costco type cyborgs that you've seen in alien movies. In Prometheus, Alien, or Aliens, they're cyborgs that look human-like. In this one, it's just the most cheap, mass-produced, blank face, creepy-ass looking glowing eyes. If you're in a dark room and you look and you see one behind you, it's like, it's just blank, expressionless, and glowing eyes. It's like, fuck! And the Worker Joes, some of them are actually hostile, and if you have to fight them, that's trouble, because you know what, maybe you can clock it, and you can get that once if it's not ready, but otherwise it'll catch it every time. It'll start beating the shit out of you, choking you, so you have to use weapons like a gun or something, and you don't want to because ammo is very limited. And yeah, so that's trouble. Worker Joes are like almost harder to fight than the alien at times, and it's kind of a problem because at times it takes away from the alien, and so you're worried about the alien, and then Worker Joe comes up. It's like, you're taking away from the alien horror, and now it's like, it could be Worker Joe isolation, and it would almost be just as scary. But that's a problem. Detracting away from the alien, taking the attention away from the alien. And also you can craft things, so when you're constantly, you can find some ammo lying around if you're lucky, or a key card to get into a locked room, or this or that updates, little maps lying around, so like, you haven't been this corridor, look, there's a map, grab it, now you can kind of have a better idea of where you can go, so that's very helpful. And with all these scraps you can pick up, you can do crafting. The menu for that is a little tricky at first. It took me the longest time, and then I was like, oh, so that's how it was just weirdly laid out to set up how you grab things. You have to hold a button and then go through this menu and then you select to build stuff, hit another button. Like, it's a little overly complex, but you know what? I caught on and it doesn't bother me anymore. But you can make like EMP grenades, Molotov cocktails, flashbangs, flares, medikits, so there's a lot of crafting involved, which I liked. That was very neat. It added a lot, because you know, you're weak, you're at your lowest point, you're just dying, you're so close to the end, but then you're able to find a couple scraps that you actually need, build a medikit in your back. It's like, that's cool, and it helps out, because you're gonna get hurt, wounded, and scared a lot. That the alien, like, it can detect noises so easily that if you come across a group of people, you know, you can craft different items, you can craft a noisemaker, and so there's a bunch of people with guns. It's like, I could fight them, but you know, chance it with the alien showing up. Throw a noisemaker, and then they're just like, what's that? And the alien comes out of nowhere, just you get to watch it rip them to shreds, as long as you're hidden good, and then the alien leaves, it's like, done. Like, that is awesome to be able to sacrifice people to it. Unfortunately, you can't sacrifice Working Joes. I tried once. And basically, alien shows up, the Working Joe just looks at like, unidentified life form. And that's it. And then they just kind of look at each other awkwardly and move around. It's like, ah, dang it, I want to see a robot fight an alien. So I didn't get that. But you can sacrifice people, and that's really cool. The alien's going to be on your ass. You're going to be in a dark corridor, just like 8 rooms and like 3 hallways, and you just got to sneak around. You can hear it coming. You got to hide in like a little cubby hole or a closet, and you're scared, because this game sets up a great atmosphere and tone, okay? This game perfectly recaptures the original movie's tone and atmosphere of this awesome retro future where in the 70s, like, that's what we feel like the future will be like. All these green screens, weird little keys that are nothing like what we have now. So the retro future look is cool. I love it. It looks exactly like the Alien movie. You watch that and you play this game, they perfectly recapture what the ships look like and everything. It's fantastic. The music feels straight out of the movies. It's a great musical score, and it helps at times. Sometimes it gets really intense and you're just like, fuck, 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 fuck. The lighting in this game works too really well, where it's just like, you have flashlight or flare, which helps, because if it's dark and then you light a flare, that adds to horror, because like maybe you'll just see the alien like just, oh, out of the very limited light. The lighting in this game is really good too. There's a lot of great stuff to it. The animation, you know, like the graphics look good, but sometimes they look kind of, yeah. For the most part, for the ship and the alien itself, it looks really good. For Amanda Ripley, at times it looks good. But some of the characters look weak, like, this is next gen? This is... no, it feels the same as last gen. At times it just really doesn't look next gen. Like if you play The Last of Us, that looks next gen. That looks amazing. And sometimes this game, the graphics just don't look up to par with what we should expect. And so You know what, maybe if they had more time to improve the graphics, this game would be even better, but the graphics are a little weak. Some of the voice acting is a little weak, you know, and like lip syncing, mouths and expressions going with faces, that is pretty weak at times. So this game isn't perfect by any means. It does a great job of capturing the alien feel, the terror involved, the awesome badass feeling you get when you have like a flamethrower and you can fight off it and stuff. It's really good at doing that. It's just some of the graphics and stuff. It doesn't quite feel next gen would be the problem I'd give it. Something it doesn't have a problem though is length. This game is long and it gets drawn out, and I was honestly very surprised. Some people actually criticize it for that, like, this game was too long. That's terrible. Are you kidding me? How could you criticize a game for being too long? Like, do you think it's a good thing to pick up the new Call of Duty and be like, I beat it in 3 hours. I basically paid $60, $70 for the same thrill I could have got from watching a 2-hour movie. And it lasted about the same, only a movie would cost like a eighth of the price. This game is like 20 plus hours, and you know what? This game has climax upon climax in a way that was very exciting, because I thought I got to the end. I was like, oh, and here we go. This is what seems like would be a good end. And yes, and wait, there's more. Wait, what's going on? More? And then you play for a long time again, and you're like, okay, this is the end. And holy shit, they went on to do this? Like, you get excited. The second climax is like, holy shit, I thought I knew the game. They changed it. There's so much more going on. This is awesome. I'm so excited of what's happening. And even that's not the end. And there's even more. And when you get to that final end, the problem with that is it's like, by the time you get to the actual end, it's like, oh. Like, you go through so much, you have such a fun time. The game gets better and better. But then when you get to the end's just kind of like, well, shit. The game was fun, but if you're gonna replay it, that's a problem. Replaying it, ooh, when you get to that end, it'll just suck the second time even worse. And also, something that is a little annoying, but I also appreciate it, is you do a lot of backtracking, because it's a giant ass ship. There is a lot of places to go, so naturally it's like you gotta go over to this side and then make your way back to do this. Like, get over here, turn on an airlock, get back so you can use it, or unlock a room and then get back over to where you gotta go. So you're backtracking a lot, you're seeing a lot of the same places, but it looks nice. It's a great looking ship, so at the same time, it's kind of nice to be able to truly appreciate it, because you're seeing it more than once. It's not like, oh, pay attention to everything because you only see it the one time and you're gone. It's like, no, you get to appreciate and remember stuff, which might be helpful. Like, I'm in the medical wing, I went through it once already, I know everything is, this will be useful to me, but some people might find it annoying. And you know what, forget the AI of the alien. As good as that is, as scary as it is that the alien is smart and is able to walk around and just detect the smallest little noise of running and turn around and be like, bitch, I'm gonna come get you. And stuff. They have great AI that make them unpredictable. Worker Joes are kind of, you're able to track them, but the alien, pretty much unpredictable. It's chaos, and that's awesome. But the scariest thing for sure is the saving. Not even once, not twice, but at least 3-4 times, I got to a really difficult part. You gotta go through, do a lot of stuff at once. There's no phones, because basically there's some autosaves if you go to a certain new area if a cutscene happens, but for the most part it's just find a phone, put your little key card in, and it'll save for you. And that is an interesting way to do it, because it adds to the tension of you save every time you see it. It's almost like a blessing. Like, you get through a hard spot and you see the phone, it's like, hallelujah, and you run up and save it. Because it's just like, you nearly got killed. It adds to the horror and terror of it, because you don't want to die and have to redo a thing all over again, like I did at least 3-4 times. The hardest, like some of the hardest parts in the game, and it's like, where's the phone? And it's so hard, and you die and you have to start over. It's like, no! So it's scary, and that really adds to the terror of the game. Some people will hate that decision, like, I wish it had autosave. To me, it's like, at first it did, but then it's like, no, it really does add to the horror element. Sometimes it'll be a long time, like 20 minutes of work or more, 20, 30, 40 minutes of work, and then suddenly, boom, you're back to where you started from, and it's like, no! It'll piss some people off, but for me it adds to the horror of the fact that you could die at any time, and it makes the phone all that more useful and important, so I appreciate that. This game does a lot of things right. You know, the ending kind of stinks. It doesn't truly feel next gen at times, but at times it really does. The horror elements though, I was scared a lot during this game. And you know what, if you play with headphones in, even better, because I don't know if the same goes for Xbox. I have a PS4, and one of the things I like about PS4 is you can plug your headphones into the controller. So I was playing with my headphones in. Every time the alien is like in a vent, like going over top of you or something, it's even scarier because it feels so much closer, and it adds to the horror element even more. I would totally recommend use headphones when you're playing. It adds to it totally. What other modes are there? Survival mode, which is where you're put in a section of the ship and you have a certain task to do, like survive or get to this area, whatever. And you can play as different characters too, which is neat. And that, I think that's kind of only because I got this, the Alien Isolation Crew Expendable, where you pretty much play out a chunk of the original Alien movie. You play as Dallas, Parker, or Ellen Ripley, and you get to basically do the part. You gotta go in the vents, or you gotta lure it into the vents to get into a certain part so you can hopefully shoot it out of the airlock. And you know, the DLC, it is pretty short. It's 20 minutes to half an hour, depending how fast a player you are. And for this game, like through most of the story, you can't run. Because if you run, that alien's gonna hear you, he's gonna be on your ass, and he's gonna kill you, okay? You can't outrun him, so it's a lot of just creeping along slowly in a crouch position. Like if you watched it in the movie, it'd look preposterous. This looks a little silly, doesn't it? But in the game, it like makes sense. Like a lot of just crouching. You can walk standing up normally, but for the most part, a lot of crouch movement because you're just scared he's gonna hear you. You're so scared because he is very good at hearing you. Sometimes people have bad peripheral vision though, where it's like he walks in a door and I'm sitting here like, oh, door's right here, and he walks by and he doesn't notice me. It's like, whew. So like the game, it probably took me even longer to beat because I wasn't like running and trying to do speed runs. Like, I'll just fucking go as fast as I can. I was like, no, 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 you'll get killed. Go slow. So for Crew Expendable, honestly, it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I was going slow. I was taking my time being very careful and only took like half an hour. And it was neat. There was a lot of things going on for that half hour, but at the same time, it's like, I am happy it came free with the game, because if I went on like PlayStation Store, or if you went on Xbox Live and paid like 10 bucks for it, you'd feel ripped off. I don't know if it is free or if it is like paid for. I'm not sure. If it is, paying for it might hurt, but if it's just free, then it's good. It's a nice add-on. Being Sigourney Weaver, that is awesome, okay? And you get to do that in this, and you can do it in the Survivor mode. So that's a lot of fun. And the DLC even ends on a way where it's like, oh, this is only like slightly not as angering and frustrating as the ending to the actual game. Anyway, so it's like, ah, dang it. The game does such a great job of recreating an atmosphere and feel of the movies. It's just not quite next-gen enough at times. And the endings, both the DLC and the story ending, just make you kind of get furious and angry. Although there's so many like huge moments in the game that are just badass and awesome that it outweighs the little negatives there are. And I seriously can't even talk about it. I might do a spoiler review just to talk about the certain segments and just get me so excited. It's something that makes me just want to talk about to everyone that's played it, like, and then that happened, right? That was awesome. So I'm going to do a spoiler review for that. I'd give Alien Isolation an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, I can't give it a 9 or a 10 because it doesn't feel quite next-gen enough and the ending kind of stinks. But for the most part, this game does a fantastic job at everything it's trying to do. Terrific survival horror elements, great feel of the original, atmosphere, tone, lighting, and all. That all works so well. So comment below, tell me what you guys thought of the game if you've played it. If you haven't, I definitely recommend. If you're a fan of the Alien universe, definitely play it. Even if you're not a gamer, like this is something that every Alien fan should experience because it puts you right in there. You're on that ship and that thing wants to kill you. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later when I review all the Alien movies. I have the Alien quadrilogy and I also own Prometheus. So I'm going to review all those, talk about them. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.